Hello again. I am making yet another one of these videos. This one will be a bit of a how-to 7-8. And a lot of people might think, how do you not know how to 7-8? Well, I didn't know for the longest time, and I don't even know if I do it perfectly now, but I do win most of my PvZs with it. Because I hate the PvZ matchup. But I just want to throw this one out here. This game was before the cross spawns were forced, and this was in last season or season 3, I believe. Either way, this is just going to be a PvZ where I do end up going for the 78. I fake him out in his scouting, which is something I do want to go over. Any feedback is appreciated. Again, not top of the line, but as I said in my other video, if you watched that one first, that it is all I make this because the more people you have that explain something to you, the easier it is to get that regardless of your skill level. So maybe even a higher level player will gather something from this video, and if not, then it's all for the lower league players. Either way, I am going to start this, and it won't take too very long. It is a shorter replay, and we will speed through the majority of it. In most 7-8s, I'm pretty sure all of them actually, you do want to go for a basic forge facet span, get out that pylon, and then you stout the Zerg. And if I start it in the correct spot, if it's not a map such as Star Station, you're probably going to want to stout the pool timing, because if you don't stout the pool timing, he mates lanes and he all-ins you, then you're really upset with yourself. I had that happen to me earlier today on the EU server. But if you see a 15 hatch, then you can go for 17 Nexus and you will be perfectly fine. If you look at the production tab, our expansions are timed almost identically, and that's a good spot to be for Protoss, because Zerg always wants to be ahead in base count, always wants to be ahead in production in general to get out those extra larvae and all that. But I do believe that he saw my forged facet span, so he immediately throws down the third hatch, and that is a good move from him because, like I just said, he does want to stay ahead. Now, you do want to make sure you have your cannon and you finish your wall and get that zealot out. Basic forged facet span things that some people may not know. In the meantime, I do usually get my double gas in my main at around 20 probes. Just because it's a nice timing, I have enough gas to do warp gate, to make a stalker or something, and to get that mothership core, as well as start that +1 upgrade pretty darn early, which is very important to any form of all-in. Get your +1 upgrades, +2 it sometimes, if you are going for a council all-in, like a blink or something like that we sometimes see. And if you can't get a +2, then always go for the armor upgrade afterwards. Now you see in my main, I do go for a Stargate. This is before I started, this is right around the time actually that I started 7-gating a lot. So this is like my second or third successful attempt at it. And while it is not going to be perfect, I think that it shows a few of the basic mechanics. And like I said, this is just to go over those basic things. The Zerg is not really scouting. He could be going for a Spire because I'm not scouting too much, which is a fault at my point. You can get out a sentry pretty darn early, especially with the gas count, and then go for some form of starting information. But I was going for a Stargate, and this Overlord, he sees the Stargate, he knows exactly what is coming. So what do? I kind of have to let that finish, and this is the time where I remember I'm kind of freaking out because I don't know what to do. I know he's going to defend against this. You see, instantly, Spore production has started, and I'm showing that I am making a Phoenix. Now, this is a time where I knew what I was doing, because I started the Phoenix when the Overlord was still there. I cancel it as soon as it dies and throws down more gateways. Now I do have a total of 6 on the way with this one, or 5 on the way with this one already done, and I should be throwing down another one momentarily. There it goes. And that will bring out the 7-gate. Now, this is going to be a little bit delayed because I did go for the Stargate play. You do want to have this coming out a little bit sooner than I do. You have to have a... Do not 7-gate without a mothership core. It is the most important unit to the Protoss arsenal in the early game, I do believe. Even, I think it beats out the Sentry in some scenarios in terms of its usefulness. Of course, they do have different uses in every scenario, but just in general. So he does try to get into my base, he does fight here, but he just loses a few lanes for free. He does get a little bit of scouting information. He saw my my gateways up here, but he doesn't know that I canceled that Phoenix. He thinks that I am going to have some air units here. He's getting his lair. He has another spore crawler, and while spore crawlers are not the most expensive thing, that's more minerals being wasted over here, and that is less drones mining. Both things are helpful to me because I am warping in more units, more and more stalkers, and I will be able to pressure this because he only has lanes, and he is getting a Hydra Den, and Hydras can beat 78s if they are massed, but he's not going to have enough out in time. This means that I will have free reign over his third and his natural pretty darn easily. You also want to always bring a probe with this. You know, I am going to cater to the lower lead players here and there, where if you don't have a probe with this, then you're not going to be able to make your Proxy Pylons, and then this build doesn't really help you at all. I am floating a lot of gas, but that means I can warp in sentries or go for some form of tech switch very easily. Again, I didn't plan to do 78 at the start of this, that is why, and that's why I have 4 gases, and apparently I didn't take off anything. I know he has a lot of lanes here though, so that's why I don't send all my zealots straight at the hatchery. I allow them to stay at the front, and this makes it so the lanes have to run away. The lanes can trade effectively against the stalkers, but they cannot against zealots. I also catch rallying units, and I will catch a few more here. I don't want to kill the hatchery right now because then broodlings will pop out. The lanes have surrounded me. This is when you would use a force field. I could have just blocked in a lot of lanes right there. All things in retrospect. He's getting his 1-1 upgrades, but I already have my +1 attack. That makes those zealots 2-shot Zerglings, and that makes those stalkers just do more damage in general. I don't know if it affects how quickly they kill roaches. Somebody could do the math on that. I don't feel like doing that right now in my video. We do have roach speed on the way and such, but at this point he has lost his third base, and once a Zerg loses his third base, there's not a whole lot he can do. He does try to kill off my Proxy Pylon. He will be able to do that, but I've already done severe damage to him, and I can push into here, and he made so many roaches. If he just made Hydras, this Zerg could have done a lot more effectively against me. He could have traded, he has the extra range with them, and they are very good on creep. But he's going to try to attack me, and he does right when his 1-1 starts, but he goes straight into a Time Warp, allowing me to get off a lot of nice hits, and he's still being Time Warped because I had full energy. The only reason I used my Time Warp so offensively there is because I know that I've already won the game. I have such a high stalker count, there's not much he can do. If he had mutas right now, I don't care how many mutas he had, I would be able to win at this point in the game. And with the roach count being diminished like it is, as long as you are constantly warping in like we see over here, then you just can't be stopped. Once you gain an advantage with this build, it is really hard to lose, and a lot of Zergs will get mad at it, of course. They have every right to. But Protoss does have a lot of all-ins, and Protoss players do sometimes need to learn those. So that's the only reason I'm talking this up. I'm not usually an all-in player, but in PvZ I do find myself doing this quite a bit. So either way, this is more of just a how-to 78, how to bait out your opponent, because he thought I was going air. And so it's mind games and 78 combined. You get a 2-for-1 deal here. So give me some feedback as to how I should advertise these videos to lower lead, higher lead, in general, whatever. Feedback in general is nice for me, but thank you for watching. Check out my other videos before you judge them all, and just in this little series, this little how-to series for Protoss, I will make it for other races if this goes effectively, or if anybody likes the idea that I'm putting out here. Of course, I'm probably not the only one, but again, the more people you have to explain something, the better. Either way, thank you for watching.